Hi everyone, I'm Mike Goran. Welcome back to my perfect playthrough of Final Fantasy VII. Last time we maxed out Barret and Cid's everyone's kill count for everyone's grudge. Now it's Tifa and Red XIII's turn. I'm doing Tifa first. Should take about a half hour, I would reckon. But if not, I will make adjustments as per necessary. Remember, I gave Tifa Mega All and the Mega All Materia and a Fury Ring. And by the way, it should be known that the previous episode was quite short because it only took about 15 minutes to max everyone out. So what are the odds I max out everyone? Well, Tifa was in around the 5,500 range. So you would think about 450 kills should suffice. Will I be able to hit that number in a half hour? By the 30-minute mark? Who knows? But if not, I will make adjustments. Depending on the overall score. And as a reminder, it doesn't matter if you have battle boosters, because in Final Fantasy VII, even with battle boosts active, if a character gets killed, they stay dead. This ain't the same thing as Final Fantasy the HD remaster of Final Fantasy VIII. So what other RPGs would I like to tackle? Well, I currently own the Phantasy Star and Shining Force series on Genesis and Master System. There's plenty of Genesis and Master System RPGs I want to take a look at. A lot of Sega RPGs I would like to look at someday. PlayStation side, obviously I want Suikoden, I want Wild Arms, the Lunar Games. I think I have Legend of Dragoon somewhere. I do Chrono Cross, but I want to do Chrono Trigger first. And I think that's about it on the PlayStation side. Oh yeah, PS2 I have Rogue Galaxy. I would like to try that. Obviously, I want to beat some of the later Final Fantasies, but they're just so freaking time-consuming. Like, Final Fantasy XII is especially intimidating. 10 is intimidating. 9 is brutal in its difficulty. Just how difficult it is to get a perfect playthrough. But luckily, the conditions for a perfect playthrough, and you have to deal with the fact that it has to be done at the expense of appreciating the game's story. I like to think that part of the conditions for a perfect playthrough involves appreciating the adventure, not just blitzing through it. Sure, it's fun just absolutely crushing it in Sonic or Castlevania, but they're not exactly heavily story-driven games. With RPGs, you want to at the very least appreciate the frosting on the cake, not just the cake. So I'm on the fence on doing 9. Gotta do Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII took me about 4 to 5 years to complete. God. For what it's worth, I do have the save files for it. I do have the save files for a perfect save file, and I want to try to do little check marks for each lengthy grindy session I would have to do. because 8 was especially tortuous, to say the least. Trying to think, what else? What about Nintendo consoles? Well, I have Pokemon. I would like to do Gens 1 through 3 someday. Xeno, I really enjoy Xenogears. One of my top 5 PlayStation games of all time, as of right now. Who knows, maybe the Suikoden games will bump it off, but I don't know. It's basically the good version of I like to think of it as the good version of Evangelion. Just like Evangelion, only it wasn't a steaming pile of goat, only not a steaming pile of goat shit. But I would say that I would like to do I would like to do Xenoblade Chronicles, but it's similar to modern Final Fantasy. It is very, very intimidating. But who knows? Xenogears on the surface was intimidating. That turned out pretty fine. Now, the question remains, now that this is my 50th perfect playthrough, what will I plan on doing in the future of perfect playthroughs? Now, I don't know how far into the future this episode will be uploaded. This is like, I believe I'm currently on part 83 of my perfect playthrough right now. So at this point, I'm definitely thinking 3 episodes a week. At this time, I think I once blurted a weekly upload for this game, but I'm thinking 3 episodes a week. I should be fine on that. And all you guys really need to know is I do have way too much free time on my hands. And I mean way too much free time. So I'm trying to think, what else do I have? Mario RPG. You know what? I could do Mario RPG. The game, as of this moment, it is coming at. They are doing an HD remake of that game. I do have the game on Virtual Console. There is Earthbound for Nintendo. I'm not a big Mana fan. I played a little bit of Secret of Mana, never really got into it. But yeah, even though I'm probably gonna turn this into more of an RPG and long games channel, with a ton dedicated to RPGs and games with quite a number of perfect playthrough conditions. Nothing super straightforward. I don't want to completely disregard the shorter games. I love my Sega games. I love Sonic. But I'm nearing the point where, is it really worth doing a perfect playthrough on the game where the only condition you need to do is just beat the game? Or a perfect playthrough that can be cleared in just one episode? I might do this. I might do that on occasion. Like something like 12 Games of Christmas, or maybe... would I do another Castlevania month? I think if I do another Castlevania month, it would just be the one Castlevania game. That's the thing here. I would probably just do one, I would just do one Castlevania game over the span of a month if I were to do another Castlevania month. I did most of the short ones that are meant to be played in one sitting already. I think Bloodlines and Castlevania 3 and maybe Simon's Quest are the only ones that probably deserve a lengthier perfect playthrough dedicated to it, but we're talking Redux at this point. Maybe Super Castlevania 4, I don't know. But would I ever I don't own Symphony of the Night. I figure if I'm going to do a perfect playthrough of Symphony of the Night, it better be if only on the condition that I own it already. Another perfect playthrough, RPG I like to do a perfect playthrough. Oh yeah, definitely Kingdom Hearts. I think the one tricky thing is dealing with the copyright issue. Because Utada Hikaru is notoriously protective and stingy when it comes to the handling of her songs. I do own a PS4. I could play the Kingdom Hearts games on PS4. Though I'm probably just better off saving up for a PS5 and then rebuying the Kingdom Hearts collection for that system. Or I just game the games on PC on Steam or something like that. That works too. The bright side is I don't have, if I decide to go the Steam route, it means I don't have to hook up a bunch of wires to my laptop and head down into the basement to and share space with a roomie from time to time because they want to go on their computer and play some games too. Or I have to worry about getting bugged by my cats because they want something. Usually it's just attention. Sometimes it's to go outside. Their food and water is generally taken care of already. I only have to periodically check for food. I did throw in the South Park clip with the Live to Win song playing in the background during part 34 of my perfect playthrough of Final Fantasy VI. I think that's worth it. I'm wondering how willing I am to deal with the copyright hell that is the Kingdom Hearts series. Because there are a ton of copyrighted songs in the Kingdom Hearts series. It's not just Utada Hikaru. I have to worry about Disney for crying out loud. Apart from Quackshot, I haven't played another Disney game in a long, at all the past year or so. I mean, Aladdin was a pain in the ass. Castle of Illusion was fine. Quack Shop was fine. But they didn't use any original Disney tunes. They didn't use any legacy Disney tunes in those games. The music tracks for them were entirely brand new. Bug's Life has had quite a bit of copyrighted content. Actually, wait. Yeah, that was another one I did. Though, to be fair, I was kind of stuck in something of a depressive stupor. I was primarily using the game as a means to cope with my depression, as well as to buy myself a bit of extra time to finish Final Fantasy VI. Man, I am glad Final Fantasy VI is over. With Final Fantasy VII, the way I see it, I basically am treating this game as a full-time job, which takes priority over literally everything else, including my... But, to be fair, I've been binging through these 80-plus episodes within the span of a single month. Specifically September. Like, I still got another week of September left as of this recording. So who knows where I'll be once I finish this episode and the next episode or two, depending on how I feel. Because I have a hunch that'll be quite a long time before I get a chance to update my perfect playthrough. Like, let's see. All creation grinding took me a full day to complete. It took me 2 days to complete. No, it took a full day to complete the, It took me 1 day it took me 2 days. I'm trying to think. It took me about 2 days, I think, to complete, or 8 hours of but really it took 8 hours of continuous play to complete the stolen duplications. You pretty much saw how long it took me to complete the throw duplications and the morph duplications, specifically for the mind, for the 6 sources. And I think it took me about 3 days to complete the grind in the battle square, but I was juggling classes during that time. So something else I would like to do for a perfect playthrough is Yu-Gi-Oh! Huge fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! I wanted... Forbidden Memories, though, is currently an absolute nightmare to do on console. I would probably just emulate that one, because there are some unique tricks that you can do to quickly max out every card to obtain every card in the game. But it's only doable on emulators or as well as some modded PlayStation versions. And the reason for that is because in Forbidden Memories, in order to make every single card available to you in the game available to you, you basically have to do the disc swap thing, but between the English and Japanese versions of Forbidden Memories. And I guess the PAL region to a limited extent, though it only However, swapping over to the PAL region, to the PAL version of Forbidden Memories, will only get you Blue Eyes White Dragon. Whereas between the English and Japanese version could get you stuff like Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, Gate Guardian, Perfectly Ultimate Great Maw, cards that would otherwise be impossible to obtain because of the way the game was designed. And even several cards that, if it were possible to obtain, would require the max amount of starships you can accumulate, which is 1 starship shy of 1,000,000. 999,999. You only win up to 5 starships per duel in Forbidden Memories. So, why the ridiculous crap with that? Well, Forbidden Memories was one of those games that was supposed to have some cross connectivity with this little Japanese exclusive device called Pocket Station. It's basically a memory card that includes additional mini games and bonus content. It was originally slated to release here in the States and over in the rest of the world around 99, which is why Final Fantasy VIII here in the States has Pocket Station support, even though the Pocket Station never made its way here. However, Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories in Japan originally came out in 99, the same year as Final Fantasy VIII and the Pocket Station. However, overseas it came out in 2000 and late 2002. No, not early 2002. Shortly after the Stardex Yugi and Kaiba came out. And by that point, they basically decided to remove the Pocket Station support when porting it overseas. Just stupid because it made a ton of cards impossible to obtain in that game. Heck, 2 of them are impossible to obtain outright, as not even the starship, the 1,000,000 starship method, or fusions or rituals can make them available. So I'm talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. The reason why I'm talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories is because, well, Final Fantasy, there's nothing really to talk about. What you see is what you get. What about other Yu-Gi-Oh! Games? I like some Yu-Gi-Oh! Simulators, like Eternal Duel of Souls, or Ultimate Masters. Castle Monsters Coliseum wouldn't be too bad. There aren't 100 monster pieces to obtain. I think there's like 50 monsters in the whole game in Castle Monster Coliseum. You just need to get 5 of each at level 9. And you can actually duplicate the capsule monsters themselves. I mean, you can duplicate monsters in cards in Forbidden Memories as well. I could maybe do Legacy of the Duelists, but I don't know. But you guys, it seems like the way I see it, though, a lot of these Yu-Gi-Oh! Games leave me questioning if they would make for fun, perfect playthroughs to watch. The way I see it, I would like to make something that people can look to in case they get stuck and they need some help. But if a certain Yu-Gi-Oh! Game like Ultimate Masters or Eternal Duel of Souls does not have a particularly big market, or the market itself is overly saturated, then the chances of me being discovered is virtually non-existent. What are some of my most viewed? Which perfect playthrough series of perfect playthroughs my most viewed? Xenogears. I don't know if Final Fantasy VII will overtake it, but there are like hundreds of Final Fantasy VII perfect let's plays out there, and speedruns and tasks, like hundreds if not thousands out there. Pretty much the only difference is I'm clearly doing a perfect playthrough. I'm not just doing a 100% run. I'm trying to max everything out. I'm trying to reach the absolute apex of Final Fantasy VII. I'm just checking the time. Another 4 minutes of Tifa grinding, and then I'll switch to Red 13. I may even do a power save. I may even do a save and hard boot, but I don't know. Last time, a couple episodes ago, when I was just doing this in bouts of 10-minute bouts for each character, there weren't really any technical difficulties or crashes, but you never know. When recording my materia grinding, I had to do some emergency saves because the game crashed out on me around the 40-minute mark. Now, how would I have done the materia grinding thing different? Well, I definitely would have placed Knights of the Round. I would probably have started by just boosting Knights of the Round, the 4 materia that to take the absolute longest to max out, which are Knights of the Round, Bahamut Zero, Typhoon, and Hades. The latter 3 require 250 AP apiece. Knights of the Round takes up 500,000 AP. And just put them on triple AP weapons. Everything else will just be double AP equipment. Starting with the lowest valued materia. That's how I would have done it. Grind the highest value materia on the triple AP slides alongside underwater materia, and then the lowest graded materia on the double AP slots. Actually, on the wizard bracelets, so forget about the double stuff. And currently the only materia I've yet to master, again, are Knights of the Round and Underwater materia, which are still equipped to Cloud's Apocalypse. That's why Underwater materia in particular is the main reason Cloud is still equipped with the Apocalypse instead of his ultimate weapon, which is called Ultimate Weapon. Alright, about 45 seconds left. You know what? Once I hit the 30-minute threshold, I'm definitely going to do a power save. I'm definitely going to do an emergency save in case things go wrong. Kind of funny how often I pair Tifa and Red 13 up in this game. I think I even consider putting her in my party during the Cave of the Geeb plot section, but didn't, because it didn't matter, because no, your other party members, because neither Cloud nor your other party members say a word throughout that entire sequence. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna swap over to safety pit. Fearing. I'm gonna do a emergency save. And I'm gonna do an hour 1 minute mark. So 61 minutes. Red 13's a little behind compared to Tifa. Around the 4,800 hit point mark, I believe. Whereas Tifa was in the mid 5,000s range. So why safety bits? Because A, none of the enemies here give out status have status attacks. And number 2, the only thing I have to worry about Master Toneberry's is instant death knife attack. If I want to check to see if they get max damage for everyone's grudge, then I want to protect myself. And as per usual, if I have not hit max damage for everyone's grudge with a particular party member, then I will make adjustments as per necessary. Honestly, considering how easily I got Barret and Sid past the 10k threshold, got them to 1,000 kills last time in just 15 minutes. The only reason why I'm just doubling up on the time is due to how far back they are compared to Barret and Sid. I mean, XIII and Vincent both need an hour apiece to I assume to max out their everyone's grudge, and Vincent pretty much needs way longer than that. Like, I'm talking about the clock hitting max time long. So why is everyone's grudge missing so much? Because everyone's luck stat has been maxed out and they're equipped with misstyle, which both their luck and their misstyle both contribute to their high evasion stats, and even magic evasion, which is described in Final Fantasy VII as defense percentage and magic defense percentage. It's kind of funny because attack percentage and magic percentage all basically take into account a character's accuracy. Apart from weapons, there's no way to boost these. Weapons and armor, apart from weapons and armor, there's no way to boost those stats. Or max them out. In fact, only 2 of Vincent's weapons and 1 of Tifa's weapons can even hit max attack percentage, which means guaranteed a hit. Having said that, that doesn't matter if your luck stats maxed out, as it basically makes their makes the hit rate 100%. Now, if you were playing the original PlayStation version, the luck stat also affects random encounters. The higher the party's collective luck stat, the less likely you are to get into them. Which, I said it before, I'll say it again. If you're playing the PlayStation version and are planning to do a perfect playthrough of that game, be sure to do the luck source farming last. And maxing out everyone's luck stats last. Like, absolute last thing. And when you do go about maxing out your luck source to do luck source farming for your whole party, you better be sure that you know how much gil you still need, if that's a worry, an aura, before you max out. How much AP your underwater materia needs, if that's still a thing you need to worry about. And even how many battles you would need to get into. I haven't played the PlayStation version in well over a decade because of how that how the luck source farming works. That and the propeller trick does not exist in the PlayStation version. That was added into the PC release, which all future re-release of Final Fantasy VII is derived from. For better or for worse. So what else do I need to talk about? What games would I like? So, I don't want to completely abandon the short games on, say, the NES, Sega Genesis, or even the Super NES. But I'm nearing the point that I would need a justifiable reason to cover them. Otherwise, I'm just doing a one episode perfect playthrough. Similar to Game Boy. Zelda, even though I don't consider Zelda games to be RPGs per se, though there are a couple games like Zelda 2 or Breath of the Wild that definitely skirt the RPG definition. But I'm definitely open to doing perfect playthroughs of those games. Zelda games. Believe it or not, I actually did consider Ocarina of Time for my 50th. I considered Suikoden's 1 and 2 for my 49th and 50th at one point. I considered Kingdom Hearts for my 50th. I had a lot of reasons why I chose not to go with those games, and I think the only reason why I went with Final Fantasy VII, why I was so hesitant to do Final Fantasy VII for my 50th perfect playthrough, why I was considering other options, like the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. That's another one I would definitely love to do. Was because this game, I literally began this perfect playthroughs immediately off the heels of finishing Final Fantasy VI. And generally speaking, I would have much preferred to have given myself some space between multiple entries of the same franchise. So for starters, Final Fantasy. So the only exception to this rule was Castlevania month, where I felt I didn't need to put that much space between the Castlevania games because that was the whole point of that theme month. Is that I would be covering each of the 8 games back to back, while balancing all that out with Xenogears. And I guess you could throw in Sonic 3 and Knuckles versus Sonic 2. However, there was at least a bit of time between those two playthroughs. Sonic 2, I believe, came out in December of 2021. Sonic 3 and Knuckles in April. Why did I do Sonic 3 and Knuckles? 2 reasons. Number 1, the Sonic 2 movie had just hit theaters. Number 2, so it was sort of a cross promotion to do that. Especially since the Sonic 2 movie was, by all accounts, a loose adaptation of the Death Egg saga of Sonic, including Sonic 2 and 3 and Knuckles. I say very loose adaptation of those 2 games. And the second reason was because I managed to find a copy of Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles in a glass cabinet. And I wanted to buy both of those games for my Genesis. And I immediately used that as a motivation to make that game the first perfect playthrough I ever done that I did not emulate. Currently, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Xenogears, A Bug's Life, and Final Fantasy VII are the only games I've covered on Perfect Playthrough that was on actual hardware. But yeah, I had a lot of reasons why I didn't cover games like Mass Effect or Kingdom Hearts was the trademark thing. Pokemon was I love to do Pokemon, but I actually want to do it on actual hardware, if I'm going to do Pokemon if I was going to do a 50th perfect playthrough, it's going to be on actual hardware. I didn't have the means of recording off of handheld devices. The Switch is the closest thing to an exception, and you can barely call it a handheld. With Kingdom Hearts, I had the issue with trademark. Suikoden pretty much ran into the issue of, okay, I basically duped myself into doing A Bug's Life for the 49th perfect playthrough in other games for the 46th, 47th, and 48th playthroughs. And as I like to say in the past, I like to put a bit of distance between 2 entries in the same franchise. I think Suikoden 2 would have been the better market, would have been the better marketed game for the 50th game than Suikoden 1. So I chose not to do Suikoden 1 and 2. Mass Effect is extremely, it kind of has very, how should I say it? The conditions for a perfect playthrough of the Mass Effect trilogy are extremely tenuous and very much open for debate. I figure that if I'm going to do the Mass Effect trilogy, it better be because I have an audience for it. Because, not only that, but I also would ideally prefer to do it like as a live recording with a bunch of people watching, commenting. What should I do? Oh, what should I do here? What kind of shepherd build should I like? What kind of romances should I pursue? Etc., etc. Which romances should carry forward from one Mass Effect to another? That's another one you need to take into account. Should I lean more towards Paragon or Renegade? That's not as big a deal in Mass Effect 1 as you'd think, because you can easily max out your Charm and Intimidate scores over the course of multiple playthroughs, and max out your Paragon Renegade meters very easily. So min-maxing your Shepard in Mass Effect 1 isn't that difficult. However, Mass Effect 2, and though you can still max out your Paragon Renegade meters, Charm and Intimidate work a little differently in Mass Effect 2, and how you can clear speak checks in that game and so forth. So it basically forces you to lean more towards one direction over another during your playthroughs. In Mass Effect 3, you cannot max out both stores. There's no known exploit to max out your Charm and Intimidate in Mass Effect 3. Both of them, anyways. So you gotta choose one or the other in that game as well. What about Chrono Trigger? I only own Chrono Trigger on the DS, and again, I don't have the means of recording footage for that game. A lot of games like Rogue Galaxy, I don't know anything about. Legend Dragoon, know nothing about that. Chrono Cross, I want to do Chrono Trigger first, but I don't have a means of recording off of handheld footage. I guess I could be super cheap and crude about it, but really, who would want to watch that? Skies of Arcadia was another one I considered, but I don't know anything about that game. The later games know nothing about them. I have heard that Lunar Silver Star Story Complete is a relatively easy game to get a perfect playthrough on. Super Mario RPG, I reckon, is also would be pretty easy to get a perfect playthrough on. I think max level in that game is 30. See, what else? A lot of games are games I either know nothing about or have some other, or on handhelds I don't own them at all, or they are like, or they have some other thing working against it. So ultimately, I just decided, you know what, Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. I'm doing this for my 50th. So I have about 9 minutes left, a little less than 9 minutes, in fact. Wait, no, 10 minutes, because it took about a minute to set Route 13 up. In general, I tend to avoid off-screen grinding like the plague. The reason why I avoided the off-screen grind sessions for the all creation farming is because, as well as the battle arena farming, is because it's super redundant and cannot be done. And I knew that was straight up impossible to get all that done in one episode, or even a couple episodes. Keep in mind that I went to great lengths just to try and max out to perform the double boss glitch, like 1, 2, 3, like 3 or 4 times, and that took up nearly the entire video, like at least 40 minutes, trying to get the double boss glitch to work 3 or 4 times. Like, it was on an average of 10 times, once per 10 minutes. Even for a series of these, like the Final Grind, I would not recommend something like that. I mostly just showed off all that footage for Final Fantasy VII just to demonstrate how tough it was. And even then, I think I had a crash in the middle of recording. I had a soft lock. The game just sort of soft locked itself. And I still do not know what causes the soft lock. What causes the game to crash. Because sometimes it crashes immediately after a battle ends, sometimes it crashes in the middle of the battle, sometimes it crashes while going between the field map and the menu. Has anybody ever figured out what causes the Switch version of Final Fantasy VII to crash? Because it seems like every handheld version of this game has that problem, including the Switch version. Which is kind of funny, because if you were to play this game off the PSP or PSP Vita, PlayStation and Store, you won't get this crash because it's just emulating the original PlayStation version of Final Fantasy VII. So I have to be very... So, the way I see it, if I'm going to keep doing perfect playthroughs of RPGs, though, because I basically know that's gotta be the market for Final Fantasy VII, for perfect playthrough, I have to be very studious in regards to what the conditions are. Because keep in mind that perfect playthrough, you're accomplishing everything the game has to offer. You're not just getting the... You're just not optimizing everything, you're not just maxing everything out. You're making sure there isn't a single stone left unturned. Three and a half more... Well, 4.5 more minutes. So it's really just like 4 more minutes, actually. Honestly, once I cross the 1 hour mark, since I'm doing all of this without edits so far, that's why I'm gonna start sweating a bit, because I'm starting to fully expect the game to just crash on me any second now. Alright. So about 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. So I'm just trying to concentrate on finishing this up. Another thing I have to take into consideration too with my perfect playthroughs is whether or not this is just going to turn into an addiction. This is something that's definitely cropped up. This is probably the most boring ass shit you can do in Final Fantasy VII right here, is min-maxing characters' kill counts. And yet I'm completely addicted to it. So I have to make sure this doesn't turn into pathological behavior and just completely take over my life. Because if things start getting really bad. So it's September right now. while recording this, so the way I see it, if I'm still allowing this game to consume my life on October 1st. Because on October 1st, I'm thinking of trying to slow down my input a bit, and if I completely catch up by the time I hit like episode 85 or 86, I'll just count my losses. Pretty much the only thing I need to worry about is max skill anyways, and maybe max out my underwater materia. Alright, one more battle for good luck. Alright, fingers crossed. Okay, good. And I want a safety bit. And now I'm going to check with Master Toneberry here, and I will be right back. And we're back. Okay, Tifa's maxed out. Oh boy, let's see. Oh, come on. And he keeps missing because his luck stats maxed out, and he's equipped with the mistile. Master Toneberry will only counter with everyone's grudge. Okay, so they're both instant kills. Do I really need to bring them both back to life? So, looks like I finished my grinding session with them. So, yeah, I finished my grinding session with them. So, where are you, Ribbon? There we go. And now we save these two for last. And man, there are gonna be some painful grinding there. Some of the most agonizingly painful grinds here, particularly where Vincent's concerned, because his grind does not, under any circumstance, end with everyone's grudge. It ends with damage underflow. So next time, I'm going to take about an hour off my time to max out Kate Sith. So, if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. This is Mike Gordon, sign out.